it ties really well into my love thy neighbor theme, because we aren't in competition with each other, we're in cooperation with each other. And that's the theme for unity too, right? And this is why I chose this love thy neighbor topic tonight, because where I stand, I see a lot of division in my world. My husband is an immigrant. I'm a child of an immigrant. I'm a child of an illegal immigrant, actually. He's passed away, so no worries about that. But it still resonates very much in my psyche right now. You know, in my family, most of the people who immigrated here to the United States is because things were going a little wonky in their country. So now where are you gonna go? Just some food for thought. I know Thomas back here is already planning his escape in Costa Rica. I'm right behind him. But until then, we have to live in this reality. So I was thinking back along my military career, how many times I've moved. Anybody have a wild guess? 25. Going once? Going twice?
100.
Okay, I'm not that old. Around 40 or so. So I've had a lot of opportunities to build community. And it started way back when. My parents actually moved here back in 1987 because they were flipping houses before flipping houses was a thing. And so by the time I hit 9th grade at St. Pete High, I was in my 9th school. So I got real used to making friends. And that was kind of tricky because most of the kids your age kind of like, whatever, I've been here for forever. What do you mean you want to hang out with us? Who are you? You look weird. You don't look like the people from around here. That was the feeling I got when I ended up in Kansas City back in the late 80s. I didn't look like a lot of people around there. And then they bused me all the way down to Lakewood when they were doing integration. And I didn't look like a lot of people down there either. But I had gotten used to being the strange person in the community, the stranger in the neighborhood. And I got really used to getting to know my neighbors. And I'd like to see all of you as my neighbors as well. My lovely neighbors who always show up in matching shirts. I think that's amazing. My neighbor who bakes for me all the time, my chef, right? Little neighbor who wears lovely hats, who I'm greatly attracted to, right? We're all neighbors, and one neighbor actually brought me here back in 2016. And we met because our kids went to school together and we ended up carpooling. And honestly, we were diametrically opposites in every way you could look at it. She had blonde hair and blue eyes, wore all black, liked to ride Harley Davidsons. Her politics and I, we won't discuss. We just kind of put a box around it and let it be. But we ended up making really, really good friends. And one day she said to me, hey, have you ever had a psychic reading? And I went, what? They're not gonna try to scam me for $1 million, are they? And I'm like, no, it's this little temple down the street. They do these message circles. Come on, we'll go have a good time. We'll pay her 10, 15 bucks, whatever it was back then. We'll have a few readings. We'll go eat some chicken wings and have a beer down the street. I thought, hey, this is a good neighbor, right? And so that became our monthly thing there for a while. We were coming here every Sunday, getting our readings, having our chicken wings. One thing led to another, and she ended up hosting a birthday party for me with a reader who I ended up meeting here. And that woman came to my birthday party, did tarot readings, introduced me into reading tarot, introduced me then to the Temple of the Living God, and where I ended up meeting Jeff over here, and Jeremy, and Thomas, and obviously Reverend Zemke, and all the other lovely people there as more neighbors, and my world kept expanding. All because of one neighbor who had nothing in common with me other than the fact that we were watching our kids grow up. But that one neighbor changed my life. See, when she met me, I was just coming out of detoxing my body from being on about 19 different medications. I have a pretty severe neural condition, and I wasn't quite in my right mind. It was very difficult to make friends at that time. Even though I had spent my youth making friends, It was awkward because my brain wasn't quite connected. It was kind of like when you turn a computer off and it's really old and then you turn it back on and it's rebooting really slowly. That's how old I am. Okay, every once in a while connection. So she met me in this really horrible, ugly point in my life where my self-esteem was pretty bad and my impulse control wasn't great. I remember yelling at her kid one time, feeling really horrible about it. But she taught me about unconditional love. She taught me that there were angels and that I could talk to them. She taught me that I could find community through my spirituality, through my inquisitiveness, through my curiosity to know what else is out there. Over time, our kids grew older. Her daughter graduated college last year. My son went off. I have 2 granddaughters now. My youngest is just about to turn 18. And this neighbor is someone who I really wish right now I could tell that. Unfortunately, she transitioned 2 days before Reverend Zemke did of this year. It's been hard. It's been hard without both of them. But it's also made me realize the impact of loving thy neighbor. The impact that one person can have on someone else. When she met me, I really, really needed her love. I needed her to be able to hold space for me as I tried to figure out who I was when I wasn't working for the Army anymore and no one was telling me what to do. And I had all this free time because my kids were in school and whoa, what's going on? She reminded me that I still could be awesome even though I didn't have a fancy grade behind my name or title or job to show up to anymore. She reminded me that even though I was disabled, I still was a pretty cool person. She invited me to be part of her family, and considering when I moved back here, the only person I really had left was my mom, and she had moved an hour away. I was kind of alone, me and my little family, and she took us in, and her big, rowdy Catholic family. We did lots of fun things that I can't talk about. We had a great time. And so these days when I get a little sad, and I miss her, and I miss Reverend Zemke, I remember what both of them said. They kind of show up on my angel team, my spirit guides. Sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're not. If you know Reverend Zemke, you know what I mean. Tough one. But Reverend Zemke always reminded me, always be yourself, always do what you do. Remember what you came here for. And my friend Sam always told me, I love you exactly the way you are. Those messages help me turn my life around. Help me remember that there is joy in the world, even when we're sad and grieving and alone. We're surrounded by good people everywhere, good neighbors who may not look like us, or sound like us, or have the same background as us, or moved 40-something times like us. But they're still there for you. And this is what building this community is all about, right? Remembering that we have people in our corner. We have spirit guides in our corner. We have everything we need right here, right now, when we stop and remember how blessed we are. To be in a great city like St. Pete, to have communities like this church, where we can reach out, make new friends, right? Politics don't matter, right? The type of job you have doesn't matter. The type of car you wear doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. What really matters is these connections that we make with each other, right? As Dr. Brian Weiss says, right, only love is real. And I know that from experience because I know any time that I miss my friend, all I have to do is feel her in my heart. I feel her with me. I feel her right here. Full circle for me, because this is where I had my awakening, and she always told me she'd see me doing this. The readers I had told me I'd be doing this. and they remind me that anything is possible. And so my angel is here, Sam here. I know she's here with us tonight. I know she's smiling, I know she's laughing, I know she's commenting about my clothes top to bottom. She always ever wore black. And she loved me for who I was, and with that, I know that the love of the universe is real. And so I'll leave you with, and I love you. And what she would say to me every time I'd say that to her was,